they've been taught their whole life that all of these human traits, completely normal human traits, are somehow tied directly with femininity.
I do want to respond to the chat real quick because can you pull up the video real quick? You ain't got to play it. I just wanted to show something real quick.
Let's say she's in her masculine right.
So if everybody's seen the quote on the video, it was talking about balancing masculine and feminine energy. So when he said when she's being in her masculine, he was definitely directly saying that for the man to balance her out, he has to be in more of his feminine energy. You can take it down now.
Mm-hmm.
So Israel is right in that sense. And I get what he's trying to ask. He's saying, is a man doing that considered being in his feminine energy, or is that him being a man that's just simply compassionate? So I don't think he necessarily disagrees with any of the women on the panel where they say, hey, look, he's supposed to be more gentle with his woman when she's hyper or something like that, or that he should provide a sense of stability in that moment. I don't think he necessarily disagrees with that. I just think that he has a problem with it being considered feminine for a man to do those things. Am I right, Israel?
Yeah, because it's like all the example that they keep.
I know he was going to say more than yes.
Hold on, fam. He asked me a question, Leko. Really? Now this is what we're doing, Leko. This is what we're doing. As much as you interrupt, as much as you talk, fam. And listen, so basically, I have an issue with people when the women keep saying, "Well, yeah, you beating your chest." That's not the only attribute of masculinity. Compassion is actually an attribute of masculinity as well.
Sweeney, you was done?
Go ahead.
Sweeney ain't done.
That's not something that's considered. That's not.
Sweeney
compassion
wasn't
is not something
done.
that's.
Go ahead, Sweeney.
What are you talking about? Sweeney wasn't who?
Yeah, I was gonna go. I was gonna say that part of the issue.
Sweeney wasn't done.
My bad. I didn't know. My bad. Go ahead, Sweeney.
But no, to actually answer the question, I do believe, and I'm in agreement with the ladies on the panel, is that yes, I do agree that when you are dealing with someone that's being, you know what I mean, overly emotional, things like that, you need to be able to come in and be able to balance and calm that down, because to come in with that same type of energy is going to create a different set of problems. And I will also add the caveat that what he's saying really only works if you're not the target of her rage. If you the target of her rage, ain't no amount of you calming and trying to calm that shit down is gonna make her slide into her femininity. She gonna be like, "Nah, nigga, I'm mad at you," and I think and vice versa. But if she's like hyper about some shit that's going on outside of y'all, you coming in and offering her a balance, like, "Hey, look, chill out. It ain't that, you know what I mean? Let's look at this from a different perspective." I think she'll be able to calm down. But I very rarely see that situations where you see people going at it with one another, and it's going to be, if an argument is an argument is an argument. So two people going at it is what it is. Now I'm done. Go ahead, Clout.
Go ahead, Clout.
I was going to say, like, the spirit of what he's saying, I think is correct. Like, I think what he's trying to say is correct as far as like, look, if your woman is coming with this masculine energy, what he's describing as masculine energy, I think what he's describing more so is aggressive energy, right? If she's coming with this aggressive energy because she's upset, you don't want to meet her with aggressive energy. But a part of being masculine is having your emotions regulated and being able to stay calm, right? So what he's describing as balancing by putting himself in the feminine, what I would call it is actually putting his woman back in her feminine. Because right now she's acting masculine, she's all aggressive. So by you calming down, lowering the tone, pulling her in close, showing her love and compassion, to me, that's actually the masculine thing to do. To me, the feminine thing to do will be to raise up the aggression and also become emotional. So I think that what he's saying, that again, the sentiments of it is correct, the spirit of it is correct. Obviously, a man should be compassionate and loving and caring towards his woman if she's upset. But I think the description of it is dangerous, because that type of description of it helps to lead to toxic masculinity. Because what happens is you got a bunch of men out here now thinking, one, that in order to fix a situation where a woman's becoming masculine, they believe that they should become more feminine instead of doubling down on their masculinity. And also it leads to a generation of men who for some reason, this is why we have so many men that are uncomfortable with expressing their emotions, uncomfortable with being compassionate, and uncomfortable being caring and gentle and tender, because they've been taught their whole life that all of these human traits, completely normal human traits, are somehow tied directly with femininity. So now any man who seeks to be masculine is going to feel like, oh, I can't be gentle, I can't be listening, I can't be compassionate with my woman, and that's completely ridiculous. Like, we have to stop acting as though masculinity is like removed from humanity. Like, men are people. We have just as much of depth of emotions and feelings, and the whole point of being with a woman is to express love, which is entirely emotional. It's a feeling. So I think that's more so what Israel is talking about. Like, we keep framing these completely human characteristics as somehow feminine, and a lot of guys are not going to be able to get along with that. So I feel like, again, what he's really advocating for is to double down on your masculinity. If you're in a situation where your woman is in her masculine, you need to be a more solid version of that masculinity. While she's presenting that aggressive masculinity, you have to be that unwavering, stable masculinity in order to put her back into her femininity. But if you jump into your feminine, I don't believe it will be effective at all. So,
all right, let's get Sugar Curls in there.
Okay, so to answer the question or the statement, relationships need the balance of masculine and feminine energy. I do agree with that, but it depends on who's showing it. So I think men should show masculine energy, women should show feminine energy. I think one of the problems is that women don't know how to express their feelings of anger, of sadness, of emotional disturbance without being masculine. There's a way to express that and still be in your feminine energy. So in a relationship, if a woman is expressing herself, she's upset, she's angry, but she stays in her feminine energy, the man is not going to need to regulate her. He's just going to listen to her, and he's going to understand her, and she's going to acquiesce. He's going to continue to balance her, and they're going to come to an agreement, and then it's going to be solved.
All right.
And I think that's what I meant about beating your chest. A lot of men, they're like born fixers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes when a woman is expressing emotion, a man wants to run in and say, okay, here's to fix the problem. But a lot of times we just want you to listen, or, just sit there and just absorb what we're trying to dish out or to feel.
Maybe just need
and
a hug.
a lot of men struggle with that part. And that's when I say beat the chest, because you're trying to fix, okay, yes, this is what we're going to do, X, Y, Z, fix. And that's admirable, but that may not actually solve her problem in the moment.
All right. Let's get Fantasy in there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't finished with my point.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Sugar Girl.
Just real quickly. Men tend to tone us out when we are in our masculine energy, when we are doing too much aggression, when we're not being cooperative. They will tend to tune us out, and that can irritate a man. So when he's irritated, he is going to start to be more assertive and more aggressive, and he's going to probably just walk away from you. I did want to read masculine traits are strength, courage, independence, leadership, and assertiveness. In contrast, feminine energy tends to be sweetness, passivity, modesty, gentleness, expressiveness, cooperativeness. So I cannot see a man who is a real man being cooperative. Men are against the grain. That's what makes society. That's what makes many things great. So I think what he's talking about in his video is particularly applying principle. Like, if we are angry, we're upset, there are certain principles to apply to say, hey, let me not yell back at you. Okay. If someone is being more aggressive, okay, let me not be as aggressive to meet you, because then there's a power struggle. So I think what I see from his expression is a principle that are applied.